Hello everybody, welcome back to another new vlog. Thank you for joining me once again. Today I'm walking a route along the National Forest Trail in Staffordshire, from Yoxall to ROS. And it's quite a nice little walk. I have done it before, but I didn't actually vlog it before. And the last time I came here, I actually brought with me all my camera kit. 2 cameras, 3 lenses, in fact 4 lenses I believe, big backpack, and walked along here and really enjoyed the walk. However, I think today, given the fact that the temperatures are so high, it's probably a best option to not bring the big camera bag and pretty much take some of the weight off. So I'm travelling light today, and I'm travelling with a very small compact camera, and I'll show you what that is in just a while. But in the meantime, if you enjoy what you're watching today, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, and also please remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Where I am now, I'm going to start walking down into some fields in a little while, and I'll start taking some photos there. And then I'm going to head over to ROS in a few minutes time. The last time I came here I didn't really know where I was going, and so the walk took a little bit longer than it should have taken, and I kept stopping to take photographs, but the photos didn't really turn out that well. So now I'm coming back to recreate what I did before and hopefully get some better photos, but also hopefully enjoy the walk a bit more, knowing that I can do the walk a lot quicker now because I know where I'm going. Temperatures are up around about 30 degrees centigrade at the moment today, and the last 2 or 3 days they've been up around that as well. So it's been quite a struggle to do anything at all in the last couple of days. Certainly it's been a struggle in work, in a very hot workshop, so now I'm quite enjoying the fact that I can get out and enjoy a bit of fresh air today. But it is quite oppressive, and I think we are due some thunderstorms later, so I'm going to try and get this walk out the way before the weather changes. It's important for me to remain hydrated today of all days because of the conditions, so I've brought with me a bottle of water. So that's going to keep me at least hydrated during the day. But also I've brought with me a little pot, a little container of sunscreen. That's SPF 50 plus apparently. So that's going to keep me protected from the very hot sunshine. And at the moment, as I say that, it's going a little bit hazy. There's a few clouds appearing. They're high clouds, so I don't think there's any danger of them causing any rain at the moment, but it's something I've just got to watch, this weather, before the storms come in. So we'll see how we get on with this walk today. This is all quite different from the last time I was here. The weather the last time, we'd had several days of quite heavy rain just before that, and then on the day that I came out it had dried up just briefly for that one day, and then we had a few more days of rain after that. That was back in early spring, probably not even properly out of winter at that time. So I've come back here to have a look at it today in the height of summer, and obviously everything looks very different, very much greener, and I think I'm seeing a few interesting shots already. So I'm going to stop here now and quickly take this photo, and then I'll explain to you what the camera is that I'm using. So I'm using this little bad boy today. Don't know how well you can see that. That's the Canon Powershot SX120 image stabilized camera, and obviously it's a compact camera with a lens that's got, I think it's a 40 times zoom, it might even be 60, I can't remember for sure. I'll check that out and let you know. But yeah, this is quite an interesting little camera, and I'm trying really to see if it's any good at all for use with landscape photography, particularly local landscape photography, so I could potentially get out of the house and just go and have a quick walk somewhere and just take this with me. But we'll see about that, and I'll let you know how I get on with the images at the end of the day. Everywhere I've been so far, it's just been mainly open fields along this walk, but now I think the walk itself is just starting to change a little bit. I remember this point where I am now, and it just seems to be the point where it did start to change very slightly, and it starts to get a little bit more interesting as we go along. So I think there's going to be a few more images along here. I think I've shown you a couple already from those open fields, but they are just very similar images. And I think also I'm already probably about a third of the way through my walk anyway, but I think the second third and the final third are probably the two most interesting points along the walk anyway, so hopefully you're going to see some more nice images in a little while. So I've stopped here because in the field just ahead of me there is a farmer with some machinery working away. He's got a tractor out, and I think he's basically cutting the grass and baling some hay basically. So I think he's in the field adjacent to where I need to walk, so I think I've got a chance of being able to walk past him and get ahead of where I need to be without getting into too much trouble here. But I'm just checking as I'm looking ahead of you now, and I can see where he is. I'm not going to cause him any problem if I walk across where I want to walk across, but I'm just a bit concerned about me walking across there and then him coming across to the next field where I am actually walking. So I've got to make sure I'm aware of what's going on here, and I've got my wits about me. I think in actual fact he's actually heading towards me now, so I'm going to stop recording and see if I can get through the field. So heading through that farmer's field, I managed to get one decent shot looking back across the field at a very impressive oak tree. I don't know how well that has come out, but since then I've had to cut through a woodland which I knew was there because I cut through it last time I did this walk, but of course it's become very much more overgrown since then, and it was completely overgrown with nettles and with brambles. So everywhere I've walked through the last sort of 15-20 minutes I've had to try and avoid being stung or scratched to high heaven. So I'm out of it now, but I do think there's another little bit of woodland that I've got to walk through before I can get clear of everything, and then everything should be back to normal then. So I've just got to find the path now back into this woodland at the side of me, and then I'll walk through there and I'll be back out in open fields again hopefully by then, and the walk will start to get a bit more interesting. But at the moment there are one or two spots of rain just falling on me, so obviously the forecast showers are heading this way. Well, that wasn't very nice. That woodland was also a little bit overgrown, and my shoelace came undone while I was in there, which itself was quite annoying, but I couldn't really bend down to try and do my shoelace up because I was standing in a bunch of nettles at the time. So I'm quite glad to get out of there. But also I've been carrying my water bottle under my arm while I've been walking along, or just in my hand like this, and obviously that water next to my warm body has gone quite warm as well, so I've just had a quick swig of that. That wasn't very nice. Warm water isn't nice to drink, but it was fresh anyway. So I'm heading along a little pathway now, which in a little while comes out by Country Park, and when I get to there, there's a nice little golf course, and I'll walk along the side of that for a while, and then back into some open fields and head towards Arrowes. I'm over halfway along my walk now, but I don't know if you can see the clouds behind me bubbling up. Like I said earlier, there has been a little bit of light drizzle as I've walked just by that woodland. Only very, very light, just a few spots really. But I can see how the clouds are really bubbling up. I'm going to have to stop at some point and reapply some sun cream because it is still very warm and UV levels are very high. So I've got very fair skin. I've got to make sure I'm protecting myself, as I said earlier. But I'm going to get to this little country park, and then I'll talk to you a little bit more about the golf course and so on. I've just walked through the grounds of Wichnor Country Park. I wanted to stop and take a picture of the building itself, but obviously there's a car park in front of it and there's cars parked outside, and I spotted a lady heading from one of the cars over towards me, and I thought maybe it's not such a good idea to be photographing here. I did, however, manage to get a decent photo of the golf course behind me, and now I'm walking down away from the country park and back into another little bit of woodland, which again I think is going to be quite overgrown, and then I'll get back into open fields again, and I think the photo opportunities there are going to be a little bit better again. So I'm in a spot now where I previously met some cows. I love cows, have I told you that? They're fantastic animals, but they do scare me quite a bit because they're massive, and when there's a lot of them around, they're a little bit intimidating. But I've just spotted the cows again, and they're in a slightly different field to the last one I saw them in when I was here before, and I can't remember if I've got to walk through that field now and try and get past them again. So we'll have to wait and see on this one. This could be an interesting little section of the video. So I'm almost into Alroas now anyway. There's only a couple more little fields. Like I say, the cows are in one of those, I think. So there might be a couple of photo opportunities on the way through. Possibly even one or two photos of the cows themselves, if they're in a good mood. But yeah, this is a wonderful little walk. It's only about 5 miles long, and like I say, I'm almost at the end of it now anyway, and I've just got to decide, once I get out of these couple of fields, what I want to do when I go to Alroas, whether I want to have my lunch in the pub, and there are several of them that I could go to, or whether I want to have my lunch from the fish and chip shop. Now the reason I know they are there is because on my previous visit here I stopped off in Alroas obviously, but also on the bus on the way here today to get to Yoxall to start my walk, I had to pass through Alroas anyway. So now I'm kind of walking back from Yoxall to Alroas, where I'll get back on the bus eventually and head home. But as it is, it's lunchtime now anyway. By the time I get back into Alroas, it's going to be just before 1 o'clock, which would be perfect really for lunch. So the choice of whether it's the pub or the fish and chip shop is a big one to make, but the rain has started to come down a bit heavier now. There's not a lot of it at the moment, but there was a shower a few minutes ago, and that was heavier than the first one that I'd had previously. So I think they're going to get slightly worse as the afternoon wears on. So I might end up in the pub having my lunch. Anyway, I'm going to keep walking and see if I can find the last couple of compositions along here somewhere. I've just passed a little bit of a stream that I've got to kind of walk along a little way now and then use a couple of footbridges to get across. But as I was passing along the side of that stream, what I noticed, apart from the fact that the cows are in the field on the opposite side of the stream, so I'm alright, there was a swan all on her own on the stream, just floating up and down. Absolutely beautiful picture. So I've taken a few shots of that. I'm going to choose my favourite one of those photos and show you that one. And in the meantime, I'm going to head now across a couple of these footbridges to get to Alroas in just a few minutes. So distracted was I by that beautiful swan earlier that I took a wrong turn. But you knew that anyway, didn't you? As soon as I say I was distracted, you know I'm going to go the wrong way. But yeah, I took a wrong turn, and it just meant that I was not in the right space that I thought I was going to be in, and I got to the end of a field and realised that there was no way of getting across there. So I had to kind of turn back and find a different route back around the field to where I knew the route again, which I've just about managed to do. So I'm probably about half an hour behind schedule, so lunch is a bit later, but that's not a problem. It's still lunchtime technically. It's only just 1 o'clock now, so I'll be all right. I'm literally just a few hundred yards now from being back in the village of Arawas. I've really enjoyed taking photos with this Canon Powershot SX120 IS camera. I did have to change the batteries almost as soon as I started walking today. I had some rechargeable batteries in there, but luckily I brought 2 extra rechargeable batteries with me. It takes 2 AA batteries, so I brought an extra 2 rechargeable batteries with me that were already fully charged. I have been using the camera previously, and so the batteries don't last very long by the looks of things. Also, battery's not lasting very long. My GoPro battery is almost out of juice. It's about 35% now. So I'm going to leave the vlog here for now. If you've enjoyed the vlog, then please remember to give it a thumbs up, and also please remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I look forward to seeing you again in another vlog very soon. Bye for now.